And oh, it's the Mantos, who recently became the coach of a League of Legends / Tekken team, is here to watch his former team play. Of course, he was the captain of KT Rolster for quite a while. Reach, what a handsome baller there. And is this a 12x? Is that what's going on here? No, okay, never mind. Just gonna build the gateway as normal. No craziness from him. Although it looks like Flash might be going for. Oh no, I think he's just gonna build the barracks at the top of the ramp. Alright, I'm getting a little bit overexcited here. Yeah, a little bit too much coffee in my system. And by too much, I mean I actually forgot to drink coffee before starting the cast. Ah! It's terrible. I made myself some dinner, but then I forgot to make coffee. That's alright. So, it is going to be a barracks at the top of the ramp, so it's most likely going to be a 1-rax expand from Flash. And interestingly, no scout just yet from Deer. You really don't need to scout very early in PvT, especially if you're doing one of those kind of safe builds where you're not going to make any big deviations, like a 1-gate expand or a 1-gate obs expand or something like that. It doesn't really matter what the Terran is doing for the first, 6 or 7 minutes or however long. Honestly, whenever I say clock times, by the way, just a little disclaimer, whenever I say these clock times, I'm completely pulling numbers out of my ass. I actually have absolutely no idea about builds in terms of clock times. I always measure things in terms of the food count or relative to your opponent's buildings. Like I don't understand people who write down all these different timings. It's so funny because especially in StarCraft 2, there's a time for everything. It's at 3 minutes and 84 seconds, warp gate finishes. Alright, that's not actually a real time. 3 minutes and 84 seconds, yeah. Yeah, because that makes sense. But you know what I'm saying? It's they write down all these clock times, and I'm like, do you just memorize a list of clock times? Is that actually useful? I don't know. I just don't find it very useful to memorize clock times. I just think, okay, I play a lot of games, and I kind of know roughly when things happen, and that's good to go. 3 minutes and 84 seconds, guys. It's not my fault. It's 4 AM. It's not my fault. Swear to God. I swear to God, I went to kindergarten. I know how clocks work. Alright, so the first factory is on the way now for Flash. And I believe Deer is now aware of his opponent's spawn location. He has just gone for a 1-gate expand. As I said, this is a pretty standard, relatively safe build that you're not going to change what you're doing, whatever you scout. If you see a factory first or a command center first, it doesn't really matter too much. You're still going for more or less the same thing. And gonna go for the second factory there. Probably gonna drop machine shops on both of those ASAPly as well. Start pumping out some siege tanks. In the meantime, Spoon Guy is taking down his scouting SCV. Now let's see what Deer's reaction to this is. Is he going to go for a Reaver follow-up? Try and reproduce his success from last season? Is he going to go for a relatively quick third base? Is he going to go for some kind of crazy 2-base tech play, like 2-base Arbiter or 2-base Carrier? We shall see. I don't think 2-base Carrier is a really good idea on this map. We saw Bisu do it once last season, but I'm still not convinced that it's a very good strategy. Because the map is fairly open, but anyway. It's like the Dragoon Guy just going to start ranging the barracks. Interesting that he's shooting the barracks and not the bunker. I think that's a mistake. It doesn't matter too much. The SCV is going to be repairing it anyway, but with the barracks, you actually don't even need to bother repairing it for a while. Yeah, it looks like he switched to the bunker now. And a second goon going to come up here. I do see something moving over to that 3 o'clock base, so it looks like Deer is in fact going to be going for a quick third base. Indeed he is. Just on 1 gateway, in fact. 3 Nexus off 1 gateway. Could possibly open himself up to some crisp timing attacks here in the early mid game. From Flash. I mean, Flash does have his 2 factories finished already, so right now he's actually outproducing Deer, but I think Deer will be, you know, adding on some gateways pretty soon here, so it's going to be pretty narrow. I don't really think Flash will go for anything crazy. Just going to defend here, just going to wait for siege mode, siege up, and be completely fine. Notice that he's not putting his tank too close to the wall. He wants to keep it a little bit further back because there is the risk that the Dragoons can just run up and snipe the first tank, and that is actually a huge blow to the Terran. So you want to put that guy a little bit far back from the wall. In theory, it is still possible. I think if the Dragoons run right up against the wall, it is still possible for them to shoot the tank. But it's a lot more difficult. Like, the Goons might bug out, and even if you spam click right next to the wall, they don't necessarily all get into range. So, and of course, they're all taking the bunker taking damage from the bunker while that happens. So, generally not a good idea. Interestingly, it looks like Flash just made one siege tank and followed up with a couple of vultures. This is a very interesting choice. Usually you see the Terrans make at least a couple more siege tanks first, the second and third siege tank. But Flash seems to be comfortable with just one tank. I guess he just knows exactly what he can get away with. And now looks like he's actually got his vulture upgrades already, getting some speed vultures out. They're going to get partially intercepted here. Looks like one vulture will get taken down. But now Flash is out on the map with a couple of speed vultures with spider mines, with those double machine shops, able to get all those upgrades out really quickly. And it looks like a nice little pylon wall here. Actually, look at this, pylon walling in everything because he knows he does not have the Dragoon count to kind of cover everything at once. So just securing his bases that way. There's only 2 pylons up here. I wonder if Flash might try and push one of the vultures through using spider mines. You can't. Oh, it's not a wall! Oh no, it's not a wall! No! Oh my god, dude, Deer, that is not a wall. Your pylons are leaking, bro. Your pylons, they are leaking. Oh god, he just lost a bunch of probes there. He's losing a lot of mining time. These vultures might actually even get into the main base. Wow, that goon is lucky. Anyway, oh man, and look at this. The goons got walled out from the other side though, so they can't even go to the Nexus. They have to kill their own pylon to go save this Nexus. Oh, this is so sad for Deer. That is a very unfortunate mistake. I was actually wondering about that pylon wall because usually when you see the walls at the third bases on this map, the pylons are actually more diagonal, if that makes any sense. Like, if you look at those pylons, right? If, like, let's say the left pylon was 1 hex lower, like, that would actually look more like the wall that you're supposed to do on this map. But I thought, like, maybe that wall is fine, too. Anyway, it looks like, oh, Flash gonna intercept some even more probes here. But, man, Deer has actually suffered some catastrophic damage here in the beginning of the game. And meanwhile, Flash's third is floating over happily. Looks like he's just going to block that with a Dragoon. And wait a minute, what is that? Is that +1? Uh-oh, looks like we have some carrier action incoming. Even though I was saying earlier in the game how carriers are not, in my opinion, the best choice on this map, it looks like that's exactly what he's going for. I mean, you know, honestly, I think he probably did have to do something crazy to take down Flash, especially after taking that early damage. And here we go. The problem is Flash's armory is, you know, already up. So as soon as he sees this, he can start pumping out those Goliaths. He's already getting his upgrades done. Of course, those attack upgrades, so good for Goliaths. They get +4 damage per attack upgrade. It's kind of ridiculous. But when will he scout this? When will he scout this? Now the thing is, there's 2 possibilities here. He can either scout these Stargates, you know, by scan. Obviously, this is all by comstats, but he can either scan the Stargates, or he can scan the cybernetics core. And if he sees the cybernetics core spinning, then he might, or he'll probably suspect that it is carriers. However, we did see a very interesting game last season that I even wrote a PL article about, where Stats actually made a fake +1 range against Lita to kind of induce a badly timed push. But hold that thought, Flash is right now going for an attack. He's got, you know, not that many vultures, not many marines to support, but a decent core of siege tanks, and he looks like he's catching Deer completely off guard here. Deer looks like he has half his Dragoons over at the top right of the map, just clearing spider mines and hunting down vultures, and they were not in position to stop the push. I'm quite surprised that he allowed this to happen. He does have an observer out in front of Flash's base, so I don't know why he didn't see this coming. When you know, you really want to try and engage the Terran army as early as possible, force him to siege up before he really wants to, just delay the push as much as possible, because right now Flash has basically just walked across the map for free and is now sieging up Deer's natural. Deer looks like he's got not even a control group of Dragoons out on the map that can possibly be used to flank or or pick off reinforcements, but this is not looking good. And the thing is, this is a perfect timing as well, because Deer has invested so much of his money in this carrier tech that, you know, so he already took all the economic damage from the vultures early on, and then he also invested in the carriers, which take a really long time to kind of come into fruition there. And oh, it looks like trying to do some fancy zealot bombs, but doesn't even quite get that initial siege tank. Flash setting up a ridiculously strong position here. He's got the bunkers, he's got turrets, he's got spider mines all over the place, and oh, grabs the shuttle with that turret as well. The carriers looks like they have no choice but to reveal themselves. I think that is +1 attack finished for them, in fact. But, you know, I don't even know if they'll have the interceptor upgrade done by this point. Looks like the dragoons that were trying to cut off reinforcements are going to get cleaned up here. But wow, that is a lot of kills between them. 10 kills, 6 kills. Probably a lot of those kills are from spider mines, though, because they were mine clearing earlier on. So, whoa, did that dragoon just walk through a cliff? Did you guys see that? There's like some random rock pillar thing there. And that dragoon just walked through it, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I mean, look at this. Flash is just massing turrets here, and oh my god, what is Deer doing? He just ran his dragoons. It looks like he was just going for the break, but that is way too many dudes. Even though there's no Goliaths here, there's actually just enough turrets that the carriers lost all their interceptors. +1 attack is done for the mech army, and wow, this is not good for Deer at all. Looks like unfortunately he won't be able to repeat his miraculous victory from last season, and GG from Deer, just as Flash actually comsats all of the remaining expansions on the map to make sure there's no hidden expos. Flash, very matter-of-factly, dispatching his opponent here, and he will tie up the series 1-1. We will go to a Game 3 to determine who's going to take the Brood War portion of this series. Li Young Ho fighting